This is the story of a rational guy who had given such a practical try to live happy in his actual life, but when his girl left and he was laid off, he was too down in the dumps to get up with the idea of hope which serves as a natural high. He longed for something stronger. He began to often wonder of a chick he used to see years ago back in the summer, who was known to occasionally roll a blunt, as well as having the connections to the dealers of some stronger stuff. Growing up, he had been told enough times, pay the girl no mind, drugs would fry his mind and lead his life into demise. But he told himself it wouldn't hurt to try. To find some form of escape, which would somewhat fill the enormous gap which was torn in his faith that he placed in the belief that if you did good, then good things would happen to you. A belief he now believed was false because of all the crap he'd been through, which had damaged his view of the concept of hope and self-respect, which were the two essential things he had managed to lose. A man with his shoes so depressed and confused, feeling damned in his shoes, presented himself with an option of an outing he would come to choose. He looked the girl up and gave her a call. She told him to meet her at the bench at the east corner of the park where he used to walk his dog as a kid during the fall. His gut was knotted up when he got in the car. He ignored it as he hopped in and drove to the park. Met her at the bench. This marked the start. He swapped a couple bands for a couple grams, then she handed him the cannabis. Then they both vanished as if it was a magic trick. Little did he know that she'd have another addict quick. He started smoking weed at first, cause really what would a roll of reefer hurt? He just wanted to calm himself, embalm himself. In the roll of that paper he would proceed to light, as he'd inhaled the fumes of that weed, which would indeed entice him to return time after time to get more of that substance, which he thought was strong enough to help him escape, until one day, it wasn't. You see, the effects the weed had on his sensory perceptions could not fully alter his perception enough to misdirect him from his depression. No matter how high he got, he still felt down in the dumps. Blunts would not ease the pain, so once again he felt disdained. He had a need to attain something with some more power. He didn't dare touch meth or cocaine. He stayed away from the powders. He was looking for something that could change how he'd feel, give him the high accompanied by the thrill of momentarily escaping his dreaded reality to which he hoped drugs would sever him. He was ready to get further removed when Mary Jane could no longer pleasure him. That's when he was introduced to the great thriller of painkillers. He started off minor doses, 1 to 3 pills a day. That was all he could tolerate till he had to up his take in order to obliterate his pain. That's when Thomas began popping Oxycontin way too often, till one night his sister caught him, and she gave him a lecture overdosed in love because she couldn't stand the thought of her brother locked inside of some coffin. From a drug-induced early death, a reality that if she hadn't intervened he would have surely met. She sat him down on the couch and asked what this was all about. He went on the defense at first, sputtering some excuses why, but they were all useless tries because she would not buy his lies. She had determined in her mind she would reside by his side, a duty of a sibling to which she was much obliged. She wasn't going to leave him to die like his parents did when they found out what was being lit by the lighter of the little Thomas Erickson. They dropped him completely, cut off all ties and money, dubbed him as a junkie, a drug-addicted monkey, not even worthy of the title of a human. But his sister hadn't lost her hope in him because she really knew him. He was a man of character and heart that had just been worn apart, because to her, her brother was still a good Christian man who had a wish to stand with a Rolex on his wrist as the owner of his own business. She had to break through. She knew what she had to do, so she reminded him of this, and how she believed he could still be that boss man. Then he just lost it. Went off, fought back at the thought that brought facts that slapped him in the face, cause the genuine concern he heard in his sister's voice put him in his place. As he finally accepted her embrace and the bittersweet taste of the realization that someone still loved him in a family where he had become alienated, it struck him so odd that Bailey had waited, cause his hope in himself had basically faded. He had given up, living stuck in the vivid muck of drugs that had him fumbling, stumbling, struggling to get out of what he had gotten himself so deeply into, digging his own grave which he would soonly slip into. But the love of his sister pulled him out of the clutches of death. Her love showed him there was a reason to live when he thought he had nothing left, gave him the strength to fight off the thought that so often crept into his head as he would lay in his bed thinking of how he could have wrecked his life. Like a reckless guy, he'd lie awake through the numerous restless nights. He would have become an insomniac that would have had to fight the urge of crawling back to the bottle of painkillers that sat on top of the rack in the medicine cabinet, which he longed to open and pop off the cap. Throw his head back and swallow the pills, as he would then begin to relax as his mind would follow the thrills of becoming numb to his pain. An addiction he had overcome but was still fun in his brain. You see, the pills offered him an outing, an escape, a sweet release. He downed so many that he'd fall off his feet onto the surface of the cold kitchen floor as he would embrace the exit of death he'd been wishing for. He would have been dead, overdosed, surely by now, if it wasn't for the night his sister sat him down on that couch. and talked and discussed all of his problems and all of his issues. He let down his walls and bawled as his sister held him close and gave him the tissues. Talked all night to the morning light of his plan to win the battle of addiction he had just started to fight. His sister said he had to go to rehab. He knew Bailey was right. He began his program and his plans for his life and his future, which was now bright. His sister had reached out a hand that held a second chance, which is what we all need to do when we see a loved one struggling. We should run to them and assist, then commence to insist that we really do love them and we treasure their existence. So whether it's a family member, friend, or a coworker dealing with drugs, be the one that helps them escape addiction. Show them you care. Show them they're loved.